Okay, good afternoon, and welcome to this afternoon's Report Pro and Dashboard webinar. Ken's moved the slide on, which I think is showing he's eager to get in on this. You've worked on the development of Report Pro. Do you want to just, I think most people know you. You've been our longest standing business consultant and have probably been on site for all of our customers.
Yes, hello everybody.
Do you want us to just say a hello and introduction, please?
Yes, hello. Very much looking forward to seeing you again sometime. And I guess the story for me is much the same as for many of you. I've forgotten how to drive, no idea what a hotel looks like. The garden doesn't know what's hit it, and I'm on first name terms with all of the bees down my garden. One word of warning, I've got 5 meg broadband here, so things might occasionally be a little bit slow to open. But it doesn't diminish my feverish excitement at being able to play with this new toy, Report Pro.
So, Report Pro, we will talk through what it means as an Excel add-in. We'll talk to you about the tool itself, and then we'll also talk to you about Report Dashboard. Ken, do you want to move on so we can talk about Report Pro as an Excel add-in and what that means?
Sure. For some of you who've been doing the VAT Making Tax Digital reporting through the Excel add-in we've got for that, the setup of it is very, very similar. We're going to be inserting within an Excel spreadsheet. Note, I haven't logged into BlueCube or anything. There's nothing. I'm just going in through Excel at the moment. I would, with a set of instructions from us, insert the add-in into the Excel environment, and then once it's been pulled into the Excel environment, it's sitting there up on the toolbar there alongside the Making Tax Digital one, if you have that as well. You would then launch it, and it's just a case of logging in, username and password, and there we go. And that is us now connected to the database and ready to build extraction definitions to take the data into a data sheet here, which we can then build on with pivot tables. But we've got several data sources. We won't go into them now. Profit and loss, balance sheet, document details being the real workhorse examples of those, and you'll realize that those were the main ones in the Discoverer environment as well. So
Lovely.
that's the add-in part of it.
Thank you, Ken. We could pop back just to the slide to sort of talk through that in summary. So what that means to you is that you will be using Excel as the interface. They're giving you the functionality that we all know and love within Excel. So being able to use Excel formulae, being able to format, being able to create things like pivot tables. But you are connecting directly to the BlueCube database through a secure add-in, which means that there is no risk of compromise to data, no risk of compromise to security, and you are able to easily refresh any report that you've built within Excel that's making use of this Excel add-in, rather than having to manually extract data, update summary balance tables as we've all known and loved from Discoverer in the past. Okay, so that's what the Excel add-in does. As you can see, it sits neatly to the right-hand side of any other sheet within Excel. Can we move on to the next slide, Ken, and take a look at actually what do you get from Report Pro in terms of a working tool? So as Ken just began to show you there, Report Pro is going to give you access to a number of topics which hold the data tables within BlueCube. You'll also get a suite of ready-made reports, so that straight out of the box you'll be able to immediately start reporting and shaping reports from BlueCube. Roger, you've already asked the question which I'm about to answer, which is, can we create our own data sources? Well, yes, you're going to have the ability using Excel functionality to merge those data sources that you've seen sitting in with Report Pro, but also to bring in third-party data into a data sheet in that workbook and actually start to easily create consolidated reports or integrated reports using other data. Vivian, I'll quickly answer your question now as well. So does this mean you need to no longer need to just use Discoverer? Well, yes, in our eyes, Report Pro is going to be a replacement for Discoverer. It's going to give you the same idea of a full business intelligence tool with a suite of reports. But the biggest benefit that you're going to see with Ken showing you in a moment is that front end interface is Excel, which is the tool that I think many of us prefer to use. Right, Ken, do you want to give us a look at really what Report Pro can do?
Picking up from what Nikki was saying there, the suite of reports. I've got a folder in with basic reports which have been written on all of those topics which are currently available. There's a balance sheet one, as you might expect, a profit and loss one, each containing sheets with different levels. There's purchase order details and sales order details, summary documents, which is the document level one for debtors. There's also some interesting ones. There's a variation on the profit and loss, which involves both the departmental P&Ls and whole ones, and a multi-year trends P&L. There's also document details, of course, so that should have been higher up the list. That's all of the transactions for doing transaction lists and the customer and supplier ones. So we just open up the profit and loss example, and it's opened up on my data sheet. So this data is still in my data sheet from the last time I refreshed it. And it's from within here. If I had opened BlueCube Report, let's assume, for example, I want to come in here and just update it. So I'm going to log in. There we go. And I'm in my data sheet. I want to throw the profit and loss data into there, and I can save parameter sets here that or look for parameter sets that I would have used previously or have been used previously. Rather like the parameter sets that sit in the standard reports in BlueCube. They're going to be sitting there, and I would choose the operating entity. I'd choose the reporting structure for the headings in my report. I might choose a second reporting structure if I want to, which is going to be the hierarchy on cost centers, the departmental reporting structure. And I would do posting periods, the as-at period that I want to report on, a prior one if I want to include outstanding commitment figures in the outstanding commitment column of this data sheet. And I can choose up to 4 plans and reverse signs, the sort of stuff that we could do before with the table creation routine. Once that's done, generate the data. I don't have to. I'm not trying to hide performance here. This is of similar sort of magnitude to the Discoverer balance tables, which are really quite quick summary balance tables. The document details takes more time, but that's just depends on the volume, whether you're doing 1 month or 24. Once I've got the data sheet, then choosing there's an automatic named range which is created as this table is created by BlueCube Report Pro, and then I can do all the usual stuff which I've only just learned, but it's exciting, such as insert pivot table, and away we go. I'm going to sit in here, sit on one of the sheets. I've got some sheets already prepared here. Now these, interestingly, you don't have to worry about what Act 1 and Act 2 are if you're thinking about that thing in Discoverer. There's now something called child code, which is automatically the bottom one in the structure. You don't need to know. These will work on any chart of account structure. They don't have to be reconfigured, which is nice. So I've got in here a high-level P&L with sort of grandparent codes. This is one down to parent code level, and then that one's down to nominal level. And it's a pivot table, so that when I go in here and switch on my field list, I can start moving things around the pivot creating filters, adding more rows in, adding columns in, and so on. That's just assumed knowledge. But the good thing about having these ready-made reports here is that for those of you that are new to pivot tables, you've got a starter for 10, but it also gives people who are familiar with them an indication where it's going. So that's the profit and loss. Similar sort of thing would happen with balance sheet. I'm sure you can imagine that. Then obviously, as we go on further, consolidation is possible here by having multiple sheets currently in different workbooks, but those can be brought together as data sources within the pivot environment. And the multi-year is one of the topics which is on the list here, is a multi-year P&L allowing annual trends. It's profit and loss multi-year. It's down there, and that allows you to look at multiple year trends. And there it is. So this is just a sort of a peek at what happens. It doesn't take much imagination that once you've got these lovely blocks of data going over multiple years, it's the sort of stuff which lends itself to being graphically thrown and using graphics within Excel as well. So of course, all of that is there as well, because we are now in this very flexible environment, but still connected to the database.
Thank you very much, Ken. So you've seen Report Pro and how it works as an Excel add-in. What we've just shown you there is actually what the Report Pro tool is. So you have access to those data topics through that secure connection into the Bluecube database. You'll have a suite of ready-made reports, which means that straight away from having access to Report Pro, you've got reports you can use to shape how you want to report, to start editing, formatting in your own way. And then, yes, the opportunities really begin to open up and become exciting. So there is easy consolidation. There is easy ways to bring in third-party application data. And I think this is the thing that many customers I've spoken to end up doing by going through various methods of extracting data. And actually what this is going to give you is that direct link, that easy refresh and controls driven by the parameters within Bluecube. Jenny's just asked about sort of is it a single data dump. In a very broad spectrum, you could do that by using one of the topics, but the idea is more specific. So yes, it's feeding data through the database into reports, and so you could take a very, very wide selection of data and then just use that as a master. But actually, the idea is more that those topics and those suite of reports are going to enable you to replicate the kinds of reports that are either standard reports from Bluecube 4 or reports that would be built yourself. And you can really drive as much as you want to in Excel, but you aren't having to risk and compromise how you're refreshing that data. It's linking directly back into Bluecube. Michaela, in terms of the version for this, so this is going to be working alongside Bluecube 4. So you would need to be on Bluecube 4 in order to be able to move to Report Pro. Thanks, Rob. So in terms of how that data is controlled, we haven't put that across clearly. It does also mean that for users that are restricted by access, restricted by account set or parameters, all of those system parameters remain in place when you log in through the tool, so that you could share these reports out to budget holders, and rather than having to create a series of filtered reports for budget holders, when a budget holder logs in, they will only see the data that is applicable to them because of that system parameter driving their account set. driving their access class. Okay, I'm going to move on. I'm very happy to see more questions coming through on the chat. And as I said, at the end, we'll put up a contact email address if you have more detailed questions or would just like to have a longer conversation on this. Very happy to talk in more detail. So lastly, you've seen Report Pro. We also have Report Dashboard. Now, Report Dashboard is a tool that works within Bluecube. So Report Pro, as you've seen, is that Excel add-in working outside of Bluecube. But this is now something that's going to work within. As you log in, you'll have your own ability to customize those dashlets that sit on your page as you log in. Now this is serving a very different purpose. This is serving that need of wanting to have live information at your fingertips that you can drill down into and that you can shape to suit your own needs. Ken, do you want to give us a quick walk around of what that is?
So I'm going in with my weekend name here. And there we go. So this is logging in as a user that's in an access class, which has got some account sets, which drives the accounts they actually see on the dashboard, and there is the dashboard open. Centrally, we've chosen to give this user, through their dashboard group, access to 3 dashlets here. One that's got just plan figures on it. This one is just a summary of income versus pay expenditure. It's not labeled whether that's year to date but that's within our power. It could be. We could be bringing either figure and labeling it as such. It just says income versus pay expenditure to July or for July 1920. And these are, and this would be, again, context specific to the user's access class. They will see what they are allowed to see through their access class. And probably up front, a nice condensed P&L with actual and plan on there. There could be variances on here as well, probably, if we were thinking about it. But we've just got the actual and plan figures for month, year to date, full year alongside. And these then are drillable as well into background data. So we can drill on this column, and we'd be going into all of the source data for that, which and then because we are in which some of you might know, the Jasper environment behind here or within the reporting environment, we can export this raw detailed data as well if we wanted to do further work on it. But that's a glimpse of the fact that on a user's dashboard, essentially, users can have different panels on their, different groups of users with different number of panels and different types of panels on the dashboard. The content of those is very, very user definable in the sense of the centralized people defining what each user is going to see, and you can have one or more both chart and tabular presentations of data here as well to be going on with.
That's lovely.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's it. Okay.
It's yes. So what you're seeing there is, as Ken's just described, the ability to shape dashlets to your own needs, whether that is graphical or tabular. Again, access class controlled, so a user, you won't have to create lots and lots of variations of a dashlet. You create one dashlet, and then when a user comes in to see that, they see the data that's relevant to them. So here we've got somebody that has access to the marketing cost centers, which is why they're seeing that expenditure plan top left as they come in. And then that will give you that ability to drill back in and out. Vivian, you asked a question. Number of dashlets has been increased. Yes, so within Bluecube 4, outside of Report Dashboard, you have a set number of standardized dashlets. If you choose to add on Report Pro, you can then customize, create your own dashlets as we're describing, but also you can add more to scroll down through that page. I think
If I can just add in,
please, Ken. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this whole report dashboard panel with however many in it is one of the dashboard panels of the 4 that you can place on the dashboard.
Yeah.
If you get my drift, at the moment you can have 4 dashboard panels. All of these 3 are one of those 4 that you can have in total, and therefore it can be unlimited.
You could also add on 3 of the other standard dashlets sitting alongside it.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yes, so thank you, Roger. A good question to ask. You would be able to, as you can with any of the dashlets within Bluecube, drill all the way down to the transaction and open it up and get to the document. If it was a purchase invoice, see the attached invoice or any other commentary. So you've got what sometimes is referred to as ultimate drill down. So from that top level, drilling all the way through ultimately to a single transaction to open up and see line level detail, notes and attachments. Okay, thanks very much everybody for joining today. Hopefully this has at least given you a look and the beginnings of starting to get excited about these 2 new reporting tools. I've already had a couple of private messages saying, can we have a more detailed individual demo? Yeah, really happy to do that. I think from here, obviously everybody reports in slightly different ways, thinks slightly differently about reporting, and so the best step would be, if you would like to have a more detailed conversation about how you think you could use these tools, drop a line across to hello@bluecube.co.uk. And either myself or James or Sarah will get in touch and we will be happy to talk about that in more detail. For now, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for participating and look forward to speaking to you soon. Thank you.